Yo, yo, it's ODB from OLP. This is issue 148 of Mini Truckin Magazine, April 2004. There's a lot to talk about. Let's take a quick peek at this cover. Get the insert photo there. A massive engine, over 500 cubic inches. This is Carl and Kelly Peters' red S-10 Blazer, of course. Crazy motor sticking out of the hood. This one is titled Shock and Awe. We recently saw this truck in show coverage. My guess is that Lance shot it at that event. This was the 18th cover truck with Colorado Custom wheels. Do you happen to know what other cover truck had these same style wheels? Right there, can you see? Go ahead and comment, and if you got a good guess, I'll cover that at the end. Now, the insert shot, as I mentioned at the top, you have the Lambo door tech article with the Mazda. And speaking of tech articles, the V8 Power on the cover of this issue will come into play later with the nicely done V8 Conversion 101 Volume 1 tech article. So pretty cool. I would just remind you, if you go out to our website, link in bio, you could purchase merch like this OG style sticker. Remember, we are your Mini Truckin headquarters, OLP. So if you can, watch these all the way through. It certainly helps us out. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's jump into this issue. Now, I'm trying to stay as efficient as possible and to go through these timely. You can see the cover truck there. Ironically enough, you see features. There's only 3 features, although they're heavy on events and tech. Oddly enough, that's probably one of the lower totals for features. But again, a little bit of the pendulum swinging with more, tech articles and whatnot. You've got Oliver Porter. Shout out to Oliver. Good dude. Going to get him on the podcast hopefully before the end of the year. You see the MIC ad on the left. We're going to move into Godfather Customs. If you like what we're doing here, search OLP via any podcast app. Here we have how to get noticed. So Lance talks a little bit about the key things. Obviously going to an event where Mini Truckin Magazine would have been present. Bagged and bodied, wouldn't have hurt, so on and so forth. He covers a lot more. Here you have the state-to-state cruise, Vegas Nationals 2004 in the news. Keep in mind as well that you could bump these to 4K if you need to. There are some of the older websites, and I'd spend a lot of time on websites back in those days. Too bad we really didn't have the ability to do screenshots and things like that. I probably would have saved more stuff. One thing I'd love to have is access, if anybody had ever printed out or saved the old Street Source mags when it was a magazine. I would love to see those. My buddy Russ at the time would print those out, and he had some of those, but they're kind of long gone. I'd love to be able to go through those. Battle Scars. This was Brian Hughes's 02 S10. Notably, here Lance shoots it. It looks like it's out probably post SEMA in the famous, that's my guess, the salt flats. And then you see there it has, I won't go as far as to say a full front clip, but it's definitely clipped. It has the Trailblazer headlights with the kind of grill from the Trailblazer, it looks like. Of course, this style with the Lambo doors starts to really come into play around this time. Obviously, it's a tech article in this issue as well. You have paper cuts with a Super Clean S10. Mini Market, you see there, it's a State of Mind, Mini Truckin KAIK. And then you've got the ad that ran a good bit in the magazine for the V8 conversions. Here's California Classic Auto Fest, and we see, hey, Mr. DJ right here, Oliver Porter with his plaque. Shout out to Oliver. That truck goes on to grace the cover of Mini Truckin Magazine, which we'll get to that issue. Speaking of that, we're at issue 148. So we have about 120, give or take, 121. Rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman passed in the last week, depending on, you might watch this in 10 years from now, but Pee Wee Herman passed. And if you watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure, you can see on the Warner Brothers backlot where they filmed a good portion of the film. It was a Warner Brothers film. Of course, you see the Batmobile Probably not that exact car, but that came to mind because it's kind of hot news, if you will. Here's Ernie Macias, rest in peace, the micro cab. And certainly, definitely a beloved individual who was missed. Rolling in my 5.0, ironically enough, within the last 2 weeks, I got a chance to go by Vanilla Ice's home, aka his real name is Rob, and I got a chance to see his original 5.0 that he started up. And shout out to Tom Bennett. He had the Cheetah Blazer back in the day that was on the cover of Tailgate. One of my good friends. He made that happen, so thanks, man. Here we got the 4th annual Octoberfest. This was September 28th, 2003. So 20 years ago this year, you can see, of course, Jan's Yoda. You got Freeman's Yoda as well. Nice hard body. Back when, you know, shows would have some of the ladies come out and sign some posters and do some of the damn thing. This was at California Speedway. And shout out to my homie Chris at CNS Metalworks. His shop, him and Ruben, and Chris's employees, rather, they are not that far from California Speedway. If I remember correctly, when I peeled out of there in September 2022, September 2022, that I saw the Speedway. Here's Chad Lucas's Blazer. You can see the severed banner in the back. We recently covered that cover. There's Marlon's Frontier. Billy Bob's Mazda topless, which of course we talk about, and when I go through, check out some of the playlists on our channel, because I go through some of these different features, just random kind of street trucks and whatnot. But I think with Billy Bob's, I tied in like 2 or 3 different features because that truck has had several iterations. This was always cool to me. The shows, they would be, you know, they would provide this, you know, more than likely post-show. And what it would do is it would allow for whoever was doing the write-up to, you know, bake that in, incorporate that in terms of who won what. Here is the V8 Conversion 101 Volume 1. And you can see one of the photos there from the cover truck. Shock and awe. And this would have been a great tech article because, you know, engine swaps were taking place. They've been happening for a very, very long time. But certainly many truckers, as the sport or lifestyle, rather, as it continues to evolve, you've got guys making more money. You guys doing bigger mods. And certainly that tied in and boasted well for shock and awe. One blazing big block. We could see here just an insane motor sticking out of this thing, and it kind of reminds me, obviously this was many years ago, but if you think about Dave, 65 red Chevy from RA with his C10, you know, similar color, kinda, but just again a huge engine sticking out. So shout out to the homie. Here's Carl and Kelly Peters. Like I said, this is an 84 Blazer. This thing really has it all. If you think about, it's got the Wild Horse Colorado custom wheels, red paint, roll cage, just something that you didn't see a lot of. An insane set of meats on the back. You got the exhaust dumped out there. Really, really, really nice truck. And you can see here, it looks like kind of one of the outtake photos there from the tech article. And look at the roll cage in it, the interior. It just really wasn't a hot rod Blazer. It really had it all. An insane interior, some body mods, of course, you can see with the tail lights. Really, really super nice. Lance did a great job on this one. And I think, again, it tied in nicely. You know, not every truck is going to be, you know, the craziest iconic truck in the world, or a truck that, you know, we all got to see, like Time Machine, you know, crisscrossing the country. There's the S-10 there with the Trailblazer. But, you know, certainly baking in a feature like that would have been awesome, because something a little bit different. I want to say it was Ohio, I think is where they were from, but kind of a Midwest show, and certainly seeing that in the show field would be like, dude, we got to feature this. And then, of course, a cover feature, if you will. Here's NOPI Nats. Again, I went a couple years in a row with some old friends. We always had a blast. You've got some good coverage here. good size photos, I think. Again, Ford Explorer, you didn't see a lot of those. There's a few that were built. You know, we can go back and see them here in show coverage. Love the Mighty Max, of course, topless. There's that famous S10. I got a chance to see it at that ITB. Would be featured in street trucks. Super slick. There's that Isuzu again. We continue to see that Ranger, though. And then this thing is kind of insane. If you think about, I was never a huge fan of kind of shortening the vehicles that much. You know, you'll sometimes see some wild stuff for the shock factor. But that thing's unique. It's pretty cool. And then there's the Tacoma. Again, if you like what we're doing here, search OLP via any podcast app. Even if you don't have any intel for this issue, please leave an emoji, just a thumbs up, if nothing else. I Can Drag. This was Jeff Bryant's 93 Mazda B 2200. Jacksonville, not Florida, but Arkansas. Always enjoyed this mod as well. If the bed was all the way welded shut, like Derek's was on the cover, that was cool. But this, to me, was awesome. Being able to get in there, so to speak, and store things as needed. Super clean interior. Tweed for days, which I totally dig. It's not everybody's thing. We're going to keep on keeping on and making these as efficient as possible. Everyone's time is vital. Here is Slam Jam 8. So we do see Lenny Groover's S10. And like I said recently, I kind of mentioned how he kind of got out of a scene. That was my understanding. If you guys have intel on that, you can let me know. But there's the Tag, Talk Now, of course, from Ohio. Many of you know that truck or remember seeing it, if nothing else. Got a little bit more show coverage here. Super clean S10 there with suicide doors. Mazda with a topper, though. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for the continued support. The channel continues to grow. If you're looking to produce any kind of content, my advice to you would be is, number one, it doesn't happen overnight. Number two, you got to keep on keeping on. Number three, you have to produce content. You just have to. Shout out to Justin Wyatt. I saw that he was recently featured on a Street Trucks video. I think that Brandon Burrell, shout out to Brandon, that he published or produced. And it's the third iteration of this truck. This is when Justin's 9 Deuce Mighty Max was featured. This is back when he was in Excessive. And I didn't realize Justin says Virginia. But a super awesome truck, one of my favorite trucks. Again, Mitsubishi Mighty Max got me into the scene. If I really slice and dice it, and always love seeing that thing. Of course, it's red now, and saw that at Mini Nats 2023. I would encourage you guys, if you can, make it to Mini Nats. I know some of you are going to hear this in the future, but not even going to say the year. The 30th anniversary is coming up, but if you're a mini trucker, no matter where you are in the world, Mini Nats is kind of like our mecca. And it's pretty awesome. Dakota Digital is still selling these guys over all these years, and those are the digital, you got the digital sensors with the pressure. Obviously, a little bit different now with AccuAir and Airlift having kind of the leveler, so to speak. Another unique aspect about this is the Southeastern. So there were definitely always like little changes, and I know lowest common denominator podcasts, they can kind of rattle this off, but there's a lot of different history with these different shows and the names. But I look at this as Southeast Mini Truckin' Nats. This was the Southeastern Mini Truckin' Nats at the time, and Sport Compact Car Nationals 8, right? V+3. So again, you guys have seen a lot of these Mini Truckin' Graffitis, and you know that they didn't often do one image like this. Of course, Mosberry Delight was one of them that was a single truck, so to speak. And you got, there you go, Nitto on the back cover. It's not a stain. There you go. Thank you for the support. I can't believe this is less than 15 minutes. Wild Horse Wheels were also on the MIC 10th anniversary preview with Bobby Billiard. Colorado Custom Wheels, my favorite wheels in the scene. Subscribe and stay on the rise, y'all. You know how we do. Wyatt. That motor, though. Peace.